Marcus Chen rubbed his tired eyes and stared at the computer screen. The clock on the wall showed 11:47 p.m. He was alone in the office, surrounded by stacks of papers and empty coffee cups. Outside the window, the city lights sparkled like distant stars. He worked at the Diplomatic Corps headquarters, a huge building where humans met with alien species from across the galaxy. His job was simple but important: write reports about meetings between Earth and alien governments. Tonight, he was finishing a report about the Vrex Collective, an insect-like species that refused to trade with Earth. Marcus sighed. Another failed negotiation. Another disappointment. His boss, Director Amara Voss, had led the meeting. She was a tall woman, with dark hair and sharp features. Her eyes were gray, cold like winter steel. She rarely smiled. She rarely showed any emotion at all. Everyone in the office was a little afraid of her. Marcus remembered something strange from today's meeting. One of the Vrex representatives had suddenly stopped talking and stared at Director Voss. Its antenna twitched rapidly. Then it left the room without explanation. The whole negotiation fell apart after that. He typed the last sentence of his report and saved the file. Time to go home. Then he heard it. Knock, knock, knock. 3 slow, deliberate knocks on his office door. Marcus looked up. Who would be here at midnight? Come in, he said, his voice uncertain. The door opened. Director Amara Voss stepped inside. Marcus immediately sat up straight. His heart started beating faster. Was he in trouble? Had he made a mistake in his work? But something was different about her. Her usual perfect composure was cracking. Her hands trembled slightly. Her gray eyes looked afraid. No, that couldn't be right. Director Voss was never afraid. Mr. Chen, she said quietly. Her voice was different too. Softer. Almost human. Director Voss, Marcus replied. Is everything all right? Do you need something? She stepped fully into his office and closed the door behind her. Then, she locked it. The click of the lock echoed in the small room. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. Today in the meeting, she began, you mentioned an old Earth legend. Do you remember? Marcus thought back. The story about dragons? Yes, I was just making conversation before the meeting started. I didn't think anyone was really listening. Tell me the exact words, she said. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were burning now, flickering with a strange golden light. Repeat exactly what you said. Marcus swallowed hard. I said that ancient humans used to tell stories about dragons. Powerful creatures that could take human form. The legends said that dragons walked among us, living secret lives, hiding in plain sight. And what else? She pressed. She took a step closer to his desk. I said that some people believe the legends were real, that dragons never disappeared. They just learned to hide better. Director Voss closed her eyes. When she opened them again, they were completely golden. Not gray anymore. Pure gold. Glowing softly in the dim office light. Marcus pushed his chair back. His heart hammered in his chest. Director Voss, what's happening? I need you to do something for me, Marcus, she said. She never used his first name. Ever. I need you to repeat those words one more time. The part about dragons walking among us. But this time, you must look directly at me. Don't look away. No matter what you see. Can you do that? Every instinct in Marcus's body screamed at him to run. To look away. To escape. But he was curious too. And somewhere deep inside, he trusted her. Despite her cold exterior, Director Voss had always been fair. She had never lied to him. She had protected her staff from political games and dangerous situations. All right, he whispered. I'll do it. He stood up and faced her directly. He looked into those golden eyes. Dragons walked among us, he said clearly. Living secret lives. Hiding in plain sight. The air in the room suddenly felt electric. The temperature rose. Marcus saw a shimmer around Director Voss's body, like heat waves rising from hot pavement on a summer day. Her form began to change. Her height increased. Her human clothing seemed to merge with her skin, which now reflected light like polished scales. Her features became more angular, more elegant, more otherworldly. Horns emerged from her head, curving backward like a crown. Wings massive. Beautiful wings unfolded from her back, transparent and shimmering with colors that Marcus had no names for. She was still humanoid in shape, but everything about her screamed one word: dragon. Marcus couldn't breathe. He couldn't move. But he kept looking at her. He didn't look away. You're really a dragon," he whispered. Amara nodded slowly. Her voice, when she spoke, had a musical quality now, like several tones at once. "Yes, I am Amara of the Voss lineage. My kind has lived on Earth for 50,000 years. We have walked beside humanity since your species learned to use fire. We have been your neighbors, your friends, your silent guardians, and we have never revealed ourselves." "Olo." "Why not?" Marcus asked. His fear was mixing with wonder now. "Why hide for so long?" "Because we learned something from you," Amara said. She moved to the window and looked out at the city. "My people were once warriors. We destroyed each other in endless wars. We were dying out. Then we came to Earth and found you early humans, barely more than clever apes. And you did something we never expected." "What did we do?" "You accepted us," she said simply. "Not as gods to worship, not as monsters to kill. You just accepted us. You shared your fires. You told us your stories. You treated us as neighbors. Different, yes. Powerful, yes. But still just neighbors. That simple acceptance saved us. It taught us a different way to exist. So we stayed. We hid among you. We helped when we could. We learned to be more than weapons." Marcus slowly sat back down. His mind was racing. 50,000 years. Dragons. Real dragons. Living on Earth. Teaching in schools. Working in offices. His boss was a dragon. "Why are you telling me this now?" he asked. Amara turned back to face him. The golden glow in her eyes dimmed with sadness. "Because the Vrex discovered my true nature today. Their scanners detected my biological signature. By now, the information has spread to 17 different alien governments. The galaxy knows that dragons still exist, and they know we've been hiding on Earth. Is that bad?" "Marcus," Amara said softly. "Dragons are apex predators. We are older and more powerful than most species in the Confederation. We were thought to be extinct for 100,000 years. Now the galaxy discovers we're alive, numerous, and living secretly on a planet full of relatively weak humans. They're asking themselves one question: are humans our victims or our allies?" Marcus understood. "They think you're using us, controlling us. Worse, they're terrified. 17 species have already recalled their ambassadors. Emergency sessions are being called. Some are talking about quarantine. Some are talking about..." She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. "What do we do?" Marcus asked. Amara looked at him for a long moment. Then, for the first time since he'd known her, she smiled. A real, genuine smile. "We prove to the galaxy what you just proved to me. That humans are brave enough to look a dragon in the eyes and not flinch. That you can live beside power and not fear it. That you can coexist with beings far stronger than yourselves." She extended her hand, still scaled, still clearly not human. "Will you help me, Marcus Chen?" Marcus stood up. His hand shook slightly as he reached out. But he didn't hesitate. He grasped her hand firmly. "Yes," he said, "I will." The galaxy was about to learn something about humanity. Something important. Something that might change everything. At midnight, a new chapter began. Marcus arrived at the Diplomatic Corps headquarters at 6 in the morning. He had barely slept. His mind kept replaying the moment when Amara transformed, when everything he thought he knew about the world shattered and reformed into something stranger and more wonderful. The building was already buzzing with activity. People rushed through hallways carrying tablets and folders. Phones rang constantly. Television screens on every wall showed emergency news broadcasts in dozens of languages. Marcus caught fragments of conversation as he walked to his office. 17 species have cut all communication. The Confederation is meeting without us. They're saying Earth has been compromised. His office door was already open. Amara stood inside, back in her human form, staring at multiple screens floating in the air. Holographic displays showed alien news channels, diplomatic messages, and security alerts. She looked tired, more human than he'd ever seen her. "It's worse than I thought," she said without turning around. By morning, 23 species had recalled their ambassadors. The Vrex Collective has officially requested Earth's quarantine. They want us isolated from the rest of the galaxy. Marcus set down his bag. What does quarantine mean exactly? No trade, no travel, no communication. Earth would be alone, cut off. Amara closed one of the screens with a wave of her hand. But that's not the worst part. 3 species are arguing for preemptive action. Preemptive action? Marcus felt his stomach drop. You mean, they want to neutralize the threat before it becomes dangerous? They're not talking about attacking dragons specifically. They're talking about Earth, the entire planet. Because they believe you're either our prisoners or our puppets. Marcus sat down heavily in his chair. This is insane. We're not prisoners. We're not puppets. I know that. You know that. But how do we prove it? Amara finally turned to face him. Her gray eyes looked sad and ancient. The galaxy doesn't understand us, Marcus. They don't understand our relationship. Then explain it to them, Marcus said. Tell them the truth. Tell them what you told me last night. Amara shook her head. It's not that simple. Let me show you something. She pulled up a new holographic display. It showed a chart with hundreds of alien species listed by categories. This is the Confederation's social structure, she explained. Every species fits into a hierarchy. At the top are apex predators, species that evolved as hunters. They have strength, intelligence, natural weapons. In the middle are prey species, intelligent beings that survived through numbers, speed, or defensive adaptations. At the bottom are symbiotic species, those that evolved by serving others. Marcus studied the chart. Where do humans fit? That's the problem. Humans are unique. You're technically prey species, you have no natural weapons, no armor, no venom. But you don't act like prey. You don't submit to predators. You don't follow the hierarchy. The galaxy doesn't know how to categorize you. And dragons? Amara touched the screen. A new section highlighted in red. Dragons are beyond apex. We're what apex predators fear. We're at the very top of the evolutionary ladder. In galactic society, beings like us usually rule through fear and dominance. We should be conquerors, tyrants. But you're not, Marcus said. No, we're not. And that's what terrifies them. Amara closed the display. Every species in the Confederation operates on a simple principle. Power determines position. The strong dominate. The weak submit. That's how the galaxy works. That's how it's always worked. Marcus began to understand. And we broke that rule. Humanity didn't just break it. You ignored it completely. You lived alongside us for 50,000 years. You never tried to worship us as gods. You never tried to destroy us as monsters. You simply coexisted. As equals. Despite the massive power difference. Is that so strange? Amara smiled sadly. Marcus, it's unprecedented. In the entire known galaxy, across millions of years of recorded history, there's no example of a weaker species living peacefully with a much stronger one without domination or subjugation. None. You're the first. The door to the office suddenly opened. A young woman rushed in. She had dark skin, short hair, and worried eyes. Marcus recognized her as Dr. Sarah Okonkwo, head of xenobiology. Amara, we have a situation, Sarah said breathlessly. Then she noticed her form completely human and relaxed slightly. Oh, he knows? Marcus knows, Amara confirmed. What's the situation? Sarah pulled up her tablet. The Confederation has called an emergency session. All member species are required to attend. Earth is not invited. They're voting on our status in 3 days. 3 days, Marcus repeated. That's not much time. It gets worse, Sarah continued. The Vreks have provided bioscan data to the Confederation. They've estimated there are approximately 5,000 dragons living on Earth, mixed into human populations across every continent. They're calling it an infiltration. Amara's jaw tightened. It's not infiltration. It's immigration. We've been here longer than most human civilizations. I know that. You know that. But the galaxy sees 5,000 apex predators hiding among 7 billion humans. And they assume the worst. Marcus stood up and walked to the window. Below, he could see normal life continuing. People walked to work. Children played in a park. A food vendor sold breakfast to morning commuters. Nobody down there knew that their entire world was being judged by alien species light years away. What if we showed them? Marcus said suddenly. Both women turned to him. Showed them what? Amara asked. Normal life. Daily life. What it actually looks like when humans and dragons live together. Marcus turned from the window, his mind racing. They're imagining the worst because they've never seen the truth. So let's show them. Sarah shook her head. The Confederation isn't accepting human testimony. They think we're compromised. Then we don't testify. We don't explain. We just show. Marcus looked at Amara. You said dragons live everywhere on Earth. In every city. Doing regular jobs. Being regular neighbors. Yes. Amara said slowly. We have dragons who are teachers, doctors, artists, librarians, shopkeepers. We integrate into human society because we want to be part of it. Then let's invite observers, alien scientists, journalists, diplomats. Let them come to Earth and see for themselves. No guides, no scripts, no presentations. Just real life. Amara was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled. It's risky. It means full exposure. Every dragon on Earth would be revealed. We'd be vulnerable. But you're already exposed, Marcus pointed out. The secret is out. Now we need to show them why it's not scary. Sarah nodded enthusiastically. It could work. If they see dragons teaching kindergarten classes, or working in hospitals, or playing music in parks, if they see humans treating them as normal neighbors, it challenges everything they believe about power, Amara finished. Her eyes started to glow, faintly golden with excitement. It forces them to question their own hierarchies. Marcus felt hope for the first time since midnight. So we invite them? We invite them, Amara agreed. But first, I need to call a council. There are other dragons in positions, similar to mine, hidden leaders, trying to navigate this crisis. We need agreement from all of them. If even one dragon refuses exposure, this plan falls apart. She pulled up a communication device and began sending encrypted messages. Sarah looked at Marcus with new respect. You're brave. You know that? Most humans would have run screaming when they learned the truth. Marcus shrugged. I was terrified. I still am. A little. But Amara's been my boss for 3 years. She's always been fair. Always protected us. Why would her being a dragon change that? That's exactly the question we need the galaxy to ask, Amara said. She finished her messages and turned back to them. The council will meet tonight. If they agree, we'll extend the invitation tomorrow morning. And if they don't agree, Marcus asked. Amara's expression grew serious. Then, we prepare for isolation. Or worse. The three of them stood in silence, watching the news screens update with more alarming headlines. The galaxy was watching Earth now. Watching and judging. Waiting to see if humanity was victim or accomplice. Marcus thought about the people in the park below. The children playing. The food vendor smiling. The ordinary magic of daily life. They'll agree, he said with confidence. Because hiding hasn't kept you safe. It's just kept you lonely. Amara looked at him with those ancient gray eyes. You understand us better than most humans, Marcus Chen. Maybe, Marcus replied. Or maybe I just understand that different doesn't mean dangerous. Outside, the morning sun rose higher. Earth spun on its axis, unaware that its fate hung in the balance. But inside that small office, 3 people, 2 human, 1 dragon began planning how to teach the galaxy a lesson about courage, trust, and the revolutionary idea that power didn't have to mean dominance. The terror was spreading across the stars. But so was hope. The Dragon Council met in an underground chamber beneath the Diplomatic Corps building. Marcus had never known this place existed. The room was circular, carved from solid stone, with ancient symbols etched into the walls. Soft light came from crystals embedded in the ceiling. 20 dragons sat in a circle. All appeared human, but Marcus could sense the power radiating from them. These were old beings, older than countries, older than civilizations. Amara had asked Marcus to attend. You're human, she said. You represent the perspective we need to consider. Now he sat in a simple chair, feeling very small and very young, as ancient beings debated the future. Exposure is madness, said an elderly man with white hair. His human form looked about 70, but his eyes suggested he'd seen centuries pass. We've stayed hidden for 50,000 years. 1 Vrex scanner doesn't change that. Undersea, Elder Kano, Amara responded respectfully. The Vrex have already shared their data. The galaxy knows we exist. Hiding is no longer possible. A woman with red hair spoke next. She looked like a college student, but spoke with authority. What Amara proposes is dangerous. Inviting alien observers means exposing every dragon on Earth. Our homes, our families, our lives. Yes, Sira, Amara agreed. But consider the alternative. If we stay hidden now, we look guilty. Like we have something to hide. Like we're controlling humanity from the shadows. Aren't we? Another dragon challenged. He was young, appearing maybe 30 years old. We've guided human development. We've influenced their culture. We've shaped their history. We've helped, Amara corrected firmly. We've advised. We've taught. But we've never controlled. Humans make their own choices. They always have. Marcus listened, fascinated. He'd never heard dragons argue before. They were passionate, intelligent, and deeply concerned about both their own people and humanity. Elder Kano turned to Marcus. Young human, you've been quiet. What do you think? Should we expose ourselves to alien judgment? Every dragon in the room looked at him, 20 pairs of eyes, some human-colored, some flickering with inner fire. Marcus felt his mouth go dry. I think, he began slowly, that you're asking the wrong question. The room went silent. Explain, Elder Kano said. Marcus took a deep breath. You're asking if you should expose yourselves. But the galaxy isn't afraid of dragons. Not really. They're afraid that we humans are afraid of you. They're afraid we're victims or slaves or puppets. He stood up, gathering courage. The question isn't whether to expose yourselves. It's whether to expose our relationship, to show them what it actually looks like when dragons and humans live together. Sarah leaned forward. And what does it look like, from your perspective? Marcus thought about his life, about the dragon who owned the bookstore near his apartment, about his neighbor, Mrs. Chen, no relation, who taught piano and occasionally forgot to hide her scales, about his college professor who gave the best lectures on ancient history because she'd actually lived through it. It looks normal, he said simply. It looks like community, like friendship, like my boss who stays late to help me finish reports, like the librarian who recommends books to children, like the doctor who saved my sister's life. You're not our masters. You're our neighbors. The dragons exchanged glances. Several nodded slowly. The galaxy operates on fear, Marcus continued, finding his voice. Every species is either predator or prey, dominant or submissive. They don't have a word for what we have. They don't understand partnership between unequal powers. 1. So we teach them, Amara said, standing beside him. We show them what 50,000 years of coexistence looks like. Elder Kano stroked his beard thoughtfully. The risk is enormous. If this fails, if the galaxy rejects us anyway, we'll have given up our last defense, anonymity. With respect, Elder, Marcus said. You already lost anonymity. Now you get to choose the narrative. Let them discover your secret, or show them your truth. The young dragon who'd spoken earlier smiled. I like this human. He thinks clearly. All humans do, Sarah said softly. That's why we stayed. The council voted. It took 2 hours of debate, discussion, and careful consideration. But finally, the decision was made. 20 dragons, 20 votes, all in favor. Amara would extend the invitation. The next morning, Marcus helped Amara compose the message to the Confederation. They worked through multiple drafts, trying to find the right words. We need to challenge them, Marcus said. Make it about their fear, not our guilt. Amara nodded and began typing. The final message was simple and direct. To the Confederation of Stars, you have discovered that dragons live on Earth. You believe humans are victims. You are wrong. We invite observers from any species to come to Earth. Live among us. See our daily life. No tours. No presentations. Just truth. You say you fear dragons. We say you fear something else. You fear that humans aren't afraid. Come see what terrifies you. Come understand why we look them in the eyes. Ambassador Amara Voss, Earth Diplomatic Corps. They sent the message at noon. By evening, responses started arriving. The first came from the Vrex Collective. Their insectoid ambassador, Crix Tall, agreed to send a science team to document the subjugation, their message said. Then came the Palaxian Empire, a mammalian species that prided itself on rationality. They would send diplomatic observers. The Crystalline Concord, beings made of living mineral, sent philosophers. One by one, 12 species accepted the invitation. Some came out of curiosity. Some came seeking proof of human suffering. Some came hoping to understand. The Confederation agreed to postpone their vote for 2 weeks. Time enough for observers to arrive and file reports. The first delegation arrived 3 days later. 5 Vrex scientists, led by Crixtal, landed at the New York spaceport. News cameras from Earth and 100 worlds captured the moment. Marcus and Amara met them at the landing platform. Crixtal was impressive, nearly 7 feet tall, with a chitinous exoskeleton that gleamed blue-green in the sunlight. Its compound eyes reflected everything, giving nothing away. Its mandibles clicked as it spoke through a translator device. Ambassador Voss, we meet again. In your true form, I assume? Amara smiled. I can show you my true form, if you wish. But right now, I'm comfortable like this. Does it bother you? The Vrex scientist studied her carefully. Your biosignature is clear. Dragon. Apex Plus category. Dangerous. Dangerous to whom? Marcus asked. Crixtal's antennae twitched toward him. To you, obviously. You are prey species. Weak. Vulnerable. How do you tolerate living with predators? The same way you tolerate living with your expedition leader, Marcus replied. We work together. We trust each other. That's different. We're the same species. Is it different? Amara asked gently. Or is that just what you've been taught to believe? Before Crixtal could respond, a group of human children ran past, chasing a soccer ball. Their teacher followed a young woman with kind eyes who nodded politely to the aliens. Miss Catherine, one child called. Can we play longer? The teacher checked her watch. 5 more minutes, then back to class. Marcus watched Crixtal carefully. The scientist's antennae were moving in rapid, agitated patterns. What's wrong? Marcus asked. That teacher, Crixtal said. She's dragon. Yes, Amara confirmed. Catherine has been teaching kindergarten for 12 years. She's very good at it. But the children, they're not afraid? Why would they be afraid? Marcus asked. Miss Catherine teaches them to read. She helps them tie their shoes. She comforts them when they cry. Being a dragon doesn't change that. Krixtal was silent for a long moment. Its translator device made a sound like static, perhaps the Vrex equivalent of confusion. I need to observe more, the scientist said finally. That's why you're here, Amara replied. We'll take you to a residential neighborhood. You can watch regular life. Talk to anyone you want. Ask any questions. As they walked toward the transport vehicle, Marcus turned to Amara. This is going to be harder than we thought, he whispered. I know, she replied quietly. They're not just afraid of dragons. They're afraid of their own assumptions being wrong, Marcus nodded. The real challenge wasn't proving humans weren't victims. It was proving that the entire galactic hierarchy, millions of years of predator and prey dynamics, wasn't the only way to live. They had 2 weeks to change how the galaxy thought about power. 2 weeks to teach ancient species something humanity had learned 50,000 years ago. That different doesn't mean dangerous. That power doesn't require dominance. And that the bravest thing anyone can do is look at someone stronger and see not a master or a monster, but simply a neighbor. The experiment had begun. By the end of the first week, Earth had become the most watched planet in the galaxy. Billions of beings across hundreds of worlds tuned into live broadcasts, showing the alien observers documenting human-dragon coexistence. Marcus barely slept. He coordinated between 12 different observer teams, answered endless questions, and watched as the galaxy's perceptions slowly, painfully began to shift. The Vrex scientist Krixtal became a central figure in the broadcasts. Its reports were detailed, scientific, and surprisingly honest. On day 3, Krixtal visited a public library in Seattle. The head librarian was a dragon named Thomas who'd worked there for 30 years. The Vrex watched as Thomas helped a young girl find books about dinosaurs, recommended a novel to a teenager, and repaired a damaged book with careful, gentle hands. Why do you do this work? Krixtal asked, its translator clicking softly. Thomas looked up from the book he was repairing. In his human form, he appeared as a man in his 50s, with graying hair and reading glasses. I love stories. I love helping people discover new worlds through books. Why does anyone do the work they love? But you're dragon, apex plus predator. You could dominate, control, take what you want. Thomas smiled gently. I could. But why would I want to? He gestured around the library. This brings me joy. The humans who come here trust me with their children, their questions, their curiosity. That trust is more valuable than any dominance could ever be. A small boy approached the desk, clutching a book. Mr. Thomas, I finished the dragon book you gave me. It was so cool. Thomas's eyes sparkled. Did you like the part about dragon migrations? Yeah. Did dragons really fly across whole oceans? We did, Thomas said warmly. Thousands of miles, following the seasons. It was beautiful. The boy's eyes widened. Wait, you mean you really did that? You're actually a dragon? I am, Thomas confirmed. The boy thought for a moment, then grinned. That's awesome. Can you recommend another book? Krixtal watched this exchange in silence. Later, in its report, the scientist wrote, The human child showed no fear. Only excitement. Only curiosity. This challenges fundamental assumptions about predator-prey dynamics. On day 5, the Palaxian observers followed a dragon doctor named Dr. Yuki Tanaka through her shifts at a children's hospital in Tokyo. She'd been a pediatrician for 15 years. The Palaxian ambassador, a dignified being covered in silver fur, watched as Dr. Tanaka examined a sick infant. The baby cried, frightened by the medical equipment. Doctor, Tanaka gently picked up the child, humming a soft melody. The baby calmed immediately, grasping the doctor's finger. The infant trusts you, the ambassador observed. Even in distress, children are good judges of character. Dr. Tanaka replied, carefully checking the baby's temperature. They don't see dragon or human. They see someone who's helping, or someone who's hurting. Right now, I'm helping. The baby's mother, a young woman with tired eyes, spoke up. Dr. Tanaka saved my daughter's life last year. I don't care what species she is. She's an angel. Dr. Tanaka blushed. I just did my job. No, the mother insisted. You stayed with us all night when Mika was critical. You held my hand when I was scared. You cried with us when she got better. That's not just doing a job. That's caring. The Palaxian ambassador included this scene in its report. Observed genuine emotional bond between Dragon Doctor and human family. The affection appears mutual and authentic. Requires further study. By day 7, the observers had documented hundreds of interactions. Dragons teaching music lessons. Dragons running small businesses. Dragons volunteering at homeless shelters. Dragons playing in parks with their human neighbors' children. But the galaxy remained divided. Some species were beginning to understand. Others insisted it was elaborate deception. Then came day 8. The day everything changed. A radical group called the Talon Front, an extremist organization that opposed any alien presence on Earth, decided to make a statement. They'd been growing bolder as the observers documented Earth's life. Angry that humans weren't afraid of dragons, they planned to kidnap a dragon child, to prove that dragons could be captured, controlled, hurt, to show humanity that dragons weren't invincible neighbors, but dangerous enemies. Their target was a 7-year-old dragon girl named May, who attended elementary school in San Francisco. She was in her human form, a small girl with pigtails and a bright yellow backpack. Marcus got the security alert at 2:47 p.m. Armed individuals approaching May's school. He immediately called Amara. We have a situation, he said, his voice tight with fear. Amara's face on the screen went pale. May? Is it May? Yes. The Talon Front. They're going for a child. Send every security team we have. Now. They're already moving. But Amara, the observers are there. Crixtal's team is documenting the school. This is being broadcast live to the entire galaxy. Amara closed her eyes. Then the galaxy is about to see what happens when you threaten a dragon child in a human neighborhood. The Talon Front members approached the school at 3:15 p.m., just as children were being dismissed. They wore masks and carried weapons, not guns, which would attract immediate police response. But batons and nets. May walked out of the school entrance, holding her teacher's hand. She was laughing about something a classmate had said. The extremists moved quickly. One grabbed May, attempting to pull her away. Another brandished a baton, trying to intimidate the adults nearby. But they'd made a critical miscalculation. May's teacher, Mrs. Rodriguez, immediately stepped between the child and the attackers. Let her go. Other parents, picking up their own children, saw what was happening. They didn't run. They didn't scatter in fear. They moved forward. A construction worker dropped his lunch and ran toward May. A businesswoman in a suit put herself between the child and the attackers. An elderly man with a cane stood firm, blocking the path to the street. Within seconds, 15 humans had formed a protective circle around May. They had no weapons, no training, no supernatural powers, just determination. You want to take that child? Mrs. Rodriguez said, her voice shaking but strong. You'll have to go through all of us. Crixtal's recording equipment captured everything. The scientist and its team watched in amazement as more humans joined the circle. Parents, teachers, shop owners from across the street, a postal worker, a teenager on a skateboard. They formed a wall of bodies around May. One Talon Front member raised his baton threateningly. She's a monster. You're protecting a monster. She's a 7-year-old girl, Mrs. Rodriguez replied firmly, and she's part of our community. Now leave before the police arrive. A father in the circle spoke up, his voice carrying clearly. My son and May are best friends. They play together every day. She taught him to draw. She shared her lunch when he forgot his. You call her a monster? You're the monsters. The Talon Front members looked at each other, uncertain. They'd expected fear, panic, easy compliance. Instead, they faced quiet courage. Sirens wailed in the distance. The extremists, realizing they'd failed, retreated quickly. The human circle remained firm until they disappeared from sight. Only then did Mrs. Rodriguez kneel down to May's level. The little girl was crying, scared but unharmed. "It's okay, sweetie," Mrs. Rodriguez said gently, hugging her. "You're safe. We've got you." May's eyes flickered golden for a moment, fear releasing her control, but the humans around her didn't flinch. They gathered closer, offering comfort. "Are you okay, May?" the construction worker asked. "My mom will be so scared," May whispered. "We'll call her right now," Mrs. Rodriguez assured her. "She'll be here soon." That night, the footage spread across the galaxy. Billions watched humans stand unarmed between attackers and a dragon child. Billions heard parents call a young dragon part of our community. Billions saw ordinary people choose protection over self-preservation. Crixistal sent a special report that evening. Marcus read it with Amara. Observed unprecedented behavior. Human civilians placed themselves at risk to protect dragon child. No hesitation. No calculation. Simply protection of community member. The child's species was irrelevant to their response. This observer has never witnessed such behavior in any known species. Prey protecting apex predator? Impossible by all established models. Yet observed directly. Conclusion. Human-dragon relationship is genuine partnership, not subjugation. Humans are not victims. Dragons are not oppressors. Earth has achieved something previously thought impossible: true coexistence across power differential. The Palaxian ambassador added its own note. "We came to find evidence of domination. Instead, we found evidence of family. Recommend full reconsideration of Earth's status." Marcus looked at Amara. She was crying not tears of sadness, but of relief and gratitude. "They understand," she whispered. "Finally they understand." Marcus nodded. "It took a 7-year-old and 15 brave neighbors. But yes, they understand." Outside, the sun set over San Francisco. In that elementary school, in that moment of crisis, humanity had shown the galaxy something revolutionary. That love was stronger than fear. That community was stronger than hierarchy. And that the bravest thing anyone could do was stand between danger and someone who needed protection, regardless of who or what that someone was. The vote was in 2 days. But Marcus felt, for the first time, that they might actually win. The Confederation Hall was the largest structure Marcus had ever seen. It floated in neutral space. A massive station where representatives from 400 species gathered to debate galactic law. Today, Earth's fate would be decided. Marcus stood in the observation gallery with Amara and the other Dragon Council members. Below, the main chamber held thousands of delegates. Some were humanoid, others were completely alien clouds of gas, crystalline structures, beings that existed in multiple dimensions at once. The chamber fell silent as the High Arbiter called the session to order. She was a luminari, a being made of pure light contained in a translucent shell. "We gather to vote on Earth's status." Her voice echoed through translation devices. "The observers have submitted their reports. We will hear testimony before the vote." The vote her 4-3, of on her status. Her voice echoed treating in Franz somewhere 3. "We gather to vote on Earth's status devices." Crixistal was the first to speak. The Vrex scientist approached the central platform, its exoskeleton gleaming under the chamber lights. "Fellow Confederation members," Crixistal began, "I was sent to Earth expecting to document subjugation. I was taught that apex predators dominate lesser species. That power determines position. That the strong rule and the weak submit." The scientist paused, its antennae moving in complex patterns. "I was wrong. We were all wrong." A murmur rippled through the chamber. "On Earth, I observed a dragon librarian who dedicates his life to helping humans discover knowledge. I observed a dragon doctor who weeps with human families in times of crisis. I observed human parents who stood unarmed before attackers to protect a dragon child." Crixistal's translator clicked rapidly, struggling to keep pace with the scientist's emotional speech. "The relationship between humans and dragons is not domination. It is partnership. It is friendship. It is..." The scientist searched for the right word. It is family. Humans do not fear dragons despite their power. Dragons do not exploit humans despite their vulnerability. They simply live together. As equals. Despite being unequal, another delegate stood a Corvaxian, a predator species with sharp claws and teeth. This is impossible, the Corvaxian argued. It violates every natural law. The weak cannot coexist with the strong without subjugation. It's evolutionary fact. I thought so too, Crixtal replied calmly. Then I watched a 7-year-old dragon girl teach a human boy how to draw. I watched them share lunch, play games. She was stronger than him, could kill him with a thought if she lost control. But she didn't. She chose friendship instead. Every day, every moment. That's not subjugation. That's something we don't have a word for. The Palaxian ambassador spoke next. If I may add, my people pride ourselves on rationality. We came to Earth seeking logical explanations. What we found was simpler and more profound than logic. We found trust. The silver-furred ambassador continued. Humans trust dragons with their children, their health, their education, their lives. Dragons trust humans with their secrets, their safety, their true selves. This mutual trust has sustained them for 50,000 years. That is not weakness. That is strength we don't understand. Marcus watched as more observers gave testimony. The crystalline philosopher spoke about witnessing harmony between unequal forces. A representative from the Aquarian collective described watching a dragon chef and human apprentice work together in perfect NTI synchronization. But not all testimony was positive. Several species remained skeptical. The militant Corvaxians continued to argue it was elaborate deception. A few prey species claimed humans must be suffering from some form of mass psychological conditioning. Then the High Arbiter did something unexpected. She called Marcus to the platform. Marcus Chen of Earth, her luminous form pulsed. You are human. You work directly with dragons. Tell us, are you afraid? Marcus walked down to the central platform. His legs felt weak. 400 species watched him. Billions more watched via broadcast across the galaxy. He thought about lying, about giving a diplomatic answer. But Amara had taught him that truth was their only weapon. Yes, Marcus said clearly. I'm afraid. The chamber erupted in noise. Delegates shouted. Some claimed vindication. See, humans are afraid. Others demanded clarification. The High Arbiter raised a luminous hand. Silence fell. Explain, she commanded. Marcus took a deep breath. I'm afraid of many things. I'm afraid of failing at my job. I'm afraid of disappointing my family. I'm afraid of the Confederation rejecting Earth. I'm afraid of what happens if we can't make you understand. He paused, gathering his thoughts. But I'm not afraid of dragons. And that's what you don't understand. Fear isn't the same as respect. I respect Amara's power. I acknowledge she could hurt me if she chose to. But I'm not afraid of her. Because I know her. She's my boss, who stays late to help me finish work. She's my friend who listens when I'm worried. She's the person who revealed her most dangerous secret because she trusted me. Marcus looked around the chamber. You keep asking if humans are victims. You're asking the wrong question. Ask instead, why aren't we afraid? What do we know that you don't? And what do you know? The High Arbiter asked. Softly, that power doesn't define worth, Marcus said. That different doesn't mean dangerous. That the strongest person in the room can also be the kindest. That 50,000 years of living together taught us something. The galaxy never learned. Strength without compassion is just violence waiting to happen. But strength with compassion? That's civilization. He gestured toward Amara in the gallery. Dragons could have conquered Earth millennia ago. They could rule us right now. But they don't want to. They want what everyone wants: purpose, community, belonging. They found that with us. We found it with them. Not because we're the same, but because we're different, and we chose to see that difference as valuable, not threatening. The Corvaxian delegate stood again. Beautiful words. But words don't change nature. The strong dominate. It's universal law. Is it? Marcus challenged. Or is it just the law you've created because you're too afraid to imagine something else? The chamber went completely silent. Marcus continued, his voice gaining strength. You built your entire civilization on fear. Fear of being weak. Fear of being dominated. Fear of anything different. And now you've discovered humans and dragons? And you're terrified not because we're dangerous, but because we prove your civilization is built on a lie. What lie? The High Arbiter asked. That fear is the only way to maintain order. That hierarchy is the only path to peace. That power must dominate or be dominated. Marcus looked directly at the Corvaxian. We prove that's wrong. We prove there's another way. And that terrifies you. The Corvaxian opened its mouth to argue, then slowly closed it. Its claws retracted slightly. A new voice spoke, ancient and weary. An elderly delegate from a species Marcus didn't recognize. The human speaks truth we've forgotten. The being said, My people were once like Earth. We lived peacefully with species both stronger and weaker than ourselves. Then we joined the Confederation. We learned your hierarchies, your fear, your obsession with dominance. We forgot how to trust. We forgot how to coexist. The being turned to face the entire assembly. Perhaps Earth doesn't need to learn from us. Perhaps we need to learn from Earth. The chamber filled with noise, again arguments, debates, shocked conversations. The High Arbiter let it continue for several minutes before calling for order. We will vote, she announced. 2 options. First, quarantine Earth as a potential threat. Second, grant Earth sanctuary world status. A new classification, recognizing its unique social structure. Marcus returned to the gallery. Amara took his hand and squeezed it gently. Whatever happens, she whispered. You spoke truth. That matters. The vote began. Each species cast their decision. The results displayed on massive screens, green for sanctuary status, red for quarantine. It was close. Painfully close. Marcus watched the numbers climb, his heart pounding. Green, 187. Red, 189. More votes came in. Green, 201. Red, 203. The Vrex Collective voted. Green. The Palaxian Empire voted. Green. The Crystalline Concord voted. Green. Green, 237. Red, 225. Marcus held his breath as the final votes registered. Green, 268. Red, 245. Earth had won. The chamber erupted in chaos, some celebrating, some protesting. Everyone talking at once. The High Arbiter's voice cut through the noise. Earth is hereby granted sanctuary world status. It will be recognized as the first planet whose civilization is defined by philosophy rather than power. Other species seeking similar status may apply through the Earth Embassy. Marcus felt tears on his face. Amara was crying too, her human form barely containing her emotion. That night, back on Earth, Marcus and Amara stood on the roof of the Diplomatic Corps building, looking at the stars. Other species seeking sanctuary, Marcus said. Did you hear that part? Amara nodded. There are others out there. Species hiding. Species afraid. Species who don't fit the Confederation's hierarchy. They'll come to us now. Can we handle that? Can we refuse? Amara smiled. 50,000 years ago, my people came to Earth as refugees. We were dying. Marcus. Destroying ourselves with endless wars. And your ancestors, primitive humans who barely understood fire, they didn't turn us away. They shared their world. They taught us a better way to live. She looked at him with those ancient gray eyes. Now it's our turn to share what we've learned. To offer sanctuary to others who need it. To prove that the galaxy can change. Marcus thought about the future, about Earth becoming a haven for species that didn't fit. That chose cooperation over domination. That valued trust over fear. "It won't be easy," he said. "Nothing worthwhile ever is." They stood in comfortable silence, watching the night sky. Somewhere up there, the galaxy was changing. Slowly, reluctantly, but changing. A year later, Marcus would stand on this same roof as the first refugee ship arrived, a species fleeing persecution for refusing to follow dominance hierarchies. He'd watch Amara greet them with open arms and think about how one midnight conversation had changed everything. But tonight, he simply enjoyed the moment. The victory, the hope, and the knowledge that humanity's greatest achievement wasn't technology or strength or conquest. It was the radical courage to look at power and see a neighbor, to face difference and choose understanding, to build a civilization not on fear of what could hurt us, but on trust in what could help us. The stars shone bright above them. And for the first time in galactic history, they shone on a world that proved there was another way, a better way, a human way. The end Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.